Hello and welcome to an ICANN Media podcast. I'm your host, Rob Hislop. Well, we all know there are dangers in working on the rigs. More often than not, though, that involves equipment. Today, we are going to talk about a safety issue that really has nothing to do with equipment at all. It actually focuses on wildlife and, in particular, bears. Joining us to talk about this is Kim Titchener. She's in Canmore, Alberta. Kim, you have a company called Bear Safety and More. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. It's a business that works on reducing human-wildlife conflict, mainly in industry, working with companies that are working in bear country here in Alberta, British Columbia, into the United States. And we also work with communities, municipal government, provincial, and communities to try and work on conflict reduction programs, as we do know that wildlife conflicts are increasing across North America. And there's a lot of work to be done, especially these days in the oil sands.
So if wildlife conflicts are on the rise, and I'm probably not going out on a limb here by saying it's not because animals are expanding their reach, it's because people are moving into their area, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's definitely related to higher numbers of people in bear country. The activity that we're doing, bears wake up from their dens and like, hey, where did my land go? Where did that berry patch that I always ate at, that my mother taught me to go to, where did it go? So bears come into areas and they're curious and they're wondering what's going on. Another side to that is that bears are attracted to facilities because of petroleum products. Sometimes garbage that people leave out in pickup trucks, unsecure bins with garbage in them. So those are some of the big concerns and reasons that we see bears in particular attracted, but also natural food sources. Often when you create a well pad, you open up the canopy around it and then blueberries grow quite a bit in those areas. And I've been on quite a few camps this summer where there's just blueberries everywhere and it smells like blueberries. And so, of course, these bears, they get used to people and they'll just keep coming into those sites searching for those food sources because that's where they live and eat and breed and feed. So.
Now, there was a tragedy that happened in 2014 at a Suncor site where a woman was mauled and killed by a bear. Is this type of tragedy preventable, or is it something that could just happen when you're working in the wild?
That was definitely a case of something just extremely rare, and predatory attacks are extremely rare in North America. On average, 2 people are killed by black bears a year, and you think of how many people there are on the landscape and how many bears there are across North America. It's statistically, the risk level is actually quite low. But unfortunately, we do have these cases where we have a bear come in and attack a person for absolutely no reason. They'll go and they'll test the bear. They'll do a necropsy, which is similar to an autopsy, but on a bear, we call it a necropsy. And sometimes they'll find that the bear was diseased, or it was old and it was missing its teeth, or that it had human food in its stomach. So there was a relationship between human food and that, or an illness. But sometimes they'll do a necropsy on a bear that's killed someone, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with the bear at all. It's healthy. It's at a good weight. So I kind of like to think of it as it's just like people. You have a lot of normal people out there in the world, and once in a while you have someone who's obviously clearly mentally ill and does something that you don't expect. So sometimes we have to understand that sometimes they're just really unexpected incidents. And, I don't think we're going to see more people getting killed in the oil sands, but I do think we're going to see more people having incidents with bears, more conflicts with them, unless we are proactive and we start changing our attractive management on sites, and also training staff so that they're prepared and they do the right thing, and they are equipped with the right tools to deal with the situation in front of them.
Now, in the death on the Suncor site, I had a chance to read where other employees were around when the woman was mauled, but they simply didn't know what to do.
There's a good chance then if you don't know what to do, you're going to do the wrong thing. And how you behave around a bear, it really depends on what the situation is. You can have a non-defensive bear that is approaching people for no reason, following people on a trail or around a facility, or you could have a bear that you've come around a corner and you've surprised it. The bear has cubs with it, or it actually is on a carcass and you come across a carcass. And the way you act in those two situations are extremely different. And if you act in the inappropriate way, such as to run or to act like prey, you're going to have a bad incident. Whereas if you have the tools and the training and you know what to do in that situation, you have a much higher chance of survival. Suncor's done a really great job of training their own staff internally. And I've trained a few of the staff there as well. And And the training that we're offering is bear safety training or wildlife safety training. And so staff will learn things like bear behavior, the ecology of the animal, how to avoid encounters in the first place, and then what to do. So we have, as I mentioned, we have non-defensive encounters and then we have defensive encounters. And you need to know the difference in how you're going to behave around those animals so that you can get out of those situations. We also train staff on how to use bear spray. Bear spray is 98% effective. It's so much better than a gun. I was online talking to someone yesterday about this, and they're like, oh, they should have just had a gun and they just should have just shot the bear on sight. But it's very complicated to use a firearm on a facility like that. You have flammable objects, you have people everywhere, you have buildings that it can ricochet off of, whereas something like bear spray is something that you can use. It sprays 18 feet to 30 feet, depending on the bear spray company that you're working with, tools that you have, and it incapacitates the animal. And people are really shocked when I tell them that. They're like, oh, I thought it would just make them more angry. When in fact, bear spray, it actually causes involuntary eye closure. The animal loses the ability to see you. It'll start coughing, gagging, burning sensation to the skin. It thinks that you're attacking it. And that is a great deterrent.
Well, and obviously the bear survives this encounter as well, doesn't it?
And the bear survives the encounter as well. And I think the last thing that staff and owners of facilities want is to have this horrible reputation for shooting all of these animals because they didn't have the tools to deal with the animal in the first place.
Well, Kim, for our viewers of this podcast who may never get training on how to handle wildlife, and say they end up in Banff or Canmore, perhaps Jasper, what sort of recommendations would you have for them on how to remain safe?
Sure. So in a non-defensive encounter, where that's basically where an animal is following, a bear is following you for no reason. It could be a black bear or a grizzly bear. Black bears have a much higher probability. Solo black bears, male black bears have a tendency to be more predatory, to have more of these non-defensive encounters where they're curious possibly about the person and they're approaching them for no reason. They may be seeing them as a food source. You'll notice as the bear is approaching you, it may go directly walking towards you. It may zigzag and do a slow approach. It may try to actually get behind you. And in one encounter, I actually had a bear try and circle behind me, and they're just trying to figure out an angle to get closer and closer to you to possibly attack you. In that case, you're pulling out your bear spray, you're pulling that tab off and getting ready to spray that bear if it gets into range, and you're making yourself look big and aggressive and yelling, hey bear, yo bear, and trying to get that animal to understand that you're the bigger bear, don't mess with me, I'm not prey. If the bear continues to approach, you spray it with bear spray.
Well, what happens if you don't have bear spray with you?
If the bear continues to approach, let's say you don't have bear spray, let's say your bangers, your noisemakers aren't working, and the bear actually does attack you, you're going to fight the bear, and you'll punch at the nose, stab at the eyes, and you would be amazed actually the number of people who have fought bears off before. I've even heard the case in Ontario of a 14-year-old boy who managed to put up a fight with a black bear, and the black bear is like, whoa, I don't want to have a big fight here and possibly get hurt. Bears don't want to fight. If they were to actually go and get into encounters with other bears all the time and fight every single bear they saw, they would be expending calories, expending energy, and potentially getting injured, which would impact their ability to eat food. And that's really something that bears care a lot about. So they tend not to put up a big fight. That being said, you've got the other case where we call that a defensive encounter, where you may come across a bear and you've surprised it. You come around a corner, you're surprised it, especially around buildings where you have poor lines of sight, and or it may have cubs with it, or it may have a kill, and those are really good reasons for a bear to feel defensive towards you. And in those cases, you're submissive. Surprisingly, you're actually supposed to back away, give that animal space. The last thing you're going to do is start yelling and screaming or throwing bangers off at an animal in that situation, because you could heighten that fear in that animal. And what you're trying to do is calm them down. Hey bear, it's okay. Backing away, pulling at your bear spray, pulling the tab off, and being prepared if the bear does run at you, you're going to spray it with bear spray.
So I can't help but notice that you're not talking about a method that I think a lot of people might be familiar with, and that is when encountering a bear, it might be best to play dead. Is there any circumstance where you would recommend that?
Let's say you didn't have bear spray and you had that defensive encounter where you had a bear had cubs or a kill. Let's say you didn't have your bear spray and that mama bear charged at you, or that bear on a carcass charged you, or the animal that was surprised. You do lie down and you play dead. And you do put your hands over your head, and you're trying to protect your jugular, you're trying to protect your major organs by staying on your stomach. If the bear rolls you, you want to roll back again onto your stomach, try to stay quiet. Most most defensive encounters last for under a minute. Attacks last for under a minute. It doesn't feel like that, but you'd be amazed at the number of people who have survived defensive bear attacks because they played dead. But like you're saying, it's you can't do that in a predatory encounter. If you had a run-in with a bear and it started following you for no reason and you laid it on the ground, you're basically saying, I am a meal, go ahead. And so that's why I keep really reinforcing the carrying of bear spray for staff on sites. Because as I've mentioned, it's good in both situations. If you got into a situation, you're like, I have no idea if this is defensive or non-defensive, you don't have to worry about it because you've got bear spray and you can use the bear spray and we know it works.
Kim, thank you very much for your time. A lot of good information for us there. Now, if you'd like to find out more about Kim and her company, all you have to do is check out this website. It's bearsafety.com. Off camera, Kim also told me that while it hasn't been officially tested on other animals, she says she has heard tales from fish and wildlife officers that bear spray can also be used on animals such as wolves and cougars. That's it for our ICANN Media podcast today. Have a great one. I'm your host, Rob Hislop.